Everyone, welcome to this conversation with NYC Restaurant Insiders. My name is Jeff Santos and I'm your moderator today. I am also the COO for NYC Event Spaces. We are hosting this event from one of our locations, the Social Hall F4W43 in New York City. Let me introduce you Hiroko Nishi, the Sales Director for NYC Event Spaces.
Hi, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar. We are very excited to have you with us today. For those who are not familiar with NYC Event Spaces, our company offers event spaces in Midtown Manhattan. Even during the lockdown, some of our locations are still open for essential services. We provide spaces for conference, training, fashion shows, and exhibitions. Before we begin, I'd like to say hello to our audience. We have a variety of restaurants and food professionals from New York and other states as well. I would like to say hello to Gianfranco from the Italian restaurant group, Il Gatto Pardo, Christina from Japanese online retailer, Rakuten, Makiko-san from the Japanese restaurant Kiku, and Lika-san from sushi restaurant in Las Vegas, Edward from a catering studio, Thomas from Ocean Group in Chicago, and finally Ed from Harlem Pizza. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm just fixing the audio and the video for our panelists. Just give me 1 second, please. Hi, Jack, can you hear me? Hi, Ami, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Chef Keita, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, good. And then Terry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello?
See here? Just, okay. Everybody in? Okay, let's start it. Today, our panel discusses what we should expect ahead in terms of restaurant supply chain. And we will reserve a few minutes in the end for questions and answers. I invite you to submit your questions to our panel through the question and answer button on your screen. And if we run out of time to respond to your questions, we will reply by email later. And without any further delay, I would like to introduce the panelists to start with Chef Jack Gutierrez from Restaurant Palo Santo. After work in kitchens in New York and San Francisco early in his career, in 2006, Chef Gutierrez opened Palo Santo in Park Slope in Brooklyn, New York. Chef Gutierrez, your restaurant is known for sourcing from small local farms. Please tell us how your food supplies are doing. Is there any particular product that has been hard to get? Just a second, Chef Gutierrez is just getting his audio. I can go back to him. Okay, you get it. Did you get my question, Chef?
Hi, how's it going? Sorry, I lost that. Yes, so you were asking about what challenges we've faced now in terms of our supply chain.
Yes, pretty much with your suppliers. You're a person that goes to the market and get fresh products from the farmers market. So let us know how the farmers market or your suppliers are doing, what you having difficult getting now.
It's been very difficult to get anything from the green market. Our access.
Please speak a little louder.
Yes, our access to the green market has been completely disrupted. Right now, with social distancing guidelines, we're not able to get into the market efficiently. And so we have not been shopping from the farmers market for 2 months now, since the social distancing guidelines have started, almost 3 months.
I see. Let me ask a question for Chef Keita. My next question, Chef Keita maintains the centuries-old tradition of sushi cuisine that has made Hatsuhana a New York City institution since the 1970s. Many restaurateurs are not happy with the high commission charged by platforms like Grubhub and Uber Eats. However, some restaurants are stepping up and connecting directly with their customers, doing all the marketing work, social media, and then they've been using like relay and food orders to deliver the products directly to their customers. Chef, do you think this is a trend? Will it be the new norm for one?
I would. It's hard for me to say whether it's a trend or not. It's mostly being done out of necessity. Of course, eliminating high commission platforms for food delivery is very important right now because you know every penny counts right now. Most restaurants are most likely experiencing a much lower sales volume. And you know, for online ordering, they probably have a shorter menu due to the inability to get certain ingredients. What you know, the restaurants who are currently doing online ordering, I think they're doing a great job, especially if they've eliminated or reduced the use of third-party platforms. I think they're being extremely creative, very innovative in the way they do things. The one thing that I am a little bit concerned about for the entire industry as far as takeout is concerned is the exposure. So like they say, you do get what you pay for. These bigger platforms, these major platforms like Grubhub or Seamless, yes, of course they have higher commissions, and it's always been a major love-hate relationship with restaurants. But what they do provide readily is a massive audience. They have a huge database, and they have a massive audience, and they're also dedicated to providing services for takeout and food delivery. So if you're a restaurant and just started takeout, how will you get the exposure that's necessary in order to, I guess, operate profitably during the, you know, in these circumstances? But companies like Foodie Order, I think, are going to be extremely successful. When it comes to efficiency, I don't know much about them. Seamless and Grubhub, they're very efficient. They've been doing it for a long time. My restaurant has been using Seamless for over 15 years now. So I know it's very efficient. So it's highly dependent on the situation with the.
It's also the price point, right, Chef? Or the price point of your menu depends also. If you have like a menu that's like $10, $12, it's going to be very difficult for working with those platforms? If you have a higher price, it's easier.
I guess so. Well, it all depends on your restaurant's margins, right? So if you have a $10 entree, but your profit margins are very good for it, you might be able to absorb the costs. So it's highly dependent on what kind of margins you're working with. But and same thing with exposure. So if you're on a major platform, massive exposure doesn't always relate to massive sales. So, but I really commend the restaurants who are taking matters into their own hands, using different services that are not high commission platforms, and getting things done. I think they're doing a great job.
I see. Let me ask a question to our panelist, Ami Nakanishi. Ami is the Senior Vice President and General Manager, Mutual Trading, an importer and food service distributor serving particularly Japanese restaurants in the US. Several companies around the world closed, and we will certainly not see some products in the market in the months ahead. Is there any company in your supply chain that has closed or having challenges filling their orders? Many restaurants depend on imported products. How is the situation at the ports and airports? Can you give us some idea how things going?
Yes. So as far as I know, none of the company closed their business as of today. And I'm sure each maker is eager to supply their products. And at this moment, because restaurant business has been slowing down since March, so distributors like us carry overstock inventories. So it's opposite, but we have to brainstorming internally how to sell out those overstock products at this time. But as for supplies, I think there are maybe 3 issues I can think about at this moment. One is the control schedule of the air cargo, like air shipment. So we import Wagyu or fresh fish by air cargo, but because of the reducing of numbers of flights, it is difficult to find the right timing to book the flight. So it's difficult to expect when the products will be coming in right now. And also because of the reducing of the numbers of flights. Obviously the cost of the air shipment is extremely high compared to before. And second thing is we normally import products container basis. But under this situation, some products are selling, but some of them are not. So to make and then combine all the products for the full of container will be really challenge for us. And with that said, we try to purchase any products from local suppliers. And unfortunately, most of the products are available in US now. So we are not so much worried about it, but any special items that are only available in Japan can take time to bring here unless they'll be shipped by air cargo, which again costs more. And then final thing is kind of related to the second one, but it's about the time frame for importing from Japan to Asia. Because we are located in East Coast, so the West Coast is a little different story, but for the East Coast, it will take about 3 months from manufacturer to deliver to the restaurant in here. Wow. So these timing of receiving will be also challenging. So those things I think we can expect in the next few months.
I see. Talking about fish, fresh fish from Japan, let's ask Mr. Terry Hasegawa. He's the Chief Operations Officer at the Ocean Providence, an importer and specialty fish distributor to high-end sushi restaurants in the US. Terry, right now the country is going through a severe crisis in the meat industry. And the main reason is that the meat sector is concentrated, according to the NASS, the National Agriculture Statistics Services, 4 companies control 86% of the beef processing and 6 companies control 63% of pork. Is there the same level of consolidation in the fish industry, and should we expect a shorter of fish in the market in the months ahead as well? Oh, hold on 1 second, I'm mute.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
okay.
say that again? Okay,
Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you.
Okay, fortunately, the fish industry doesn't depend on like a slaughterhouse or a processing facility as beef and pork or chicken. Most restaurants buying whole fish from us, and they cut whole fish at their kitchen. The fish usually come directly from the fish market. Around here, like New York, we call Fulton Market, and the distributor like us, and we deliver the whole fish to the restaurant. So that's why, when meat company has a lot of problem in their warehouse, but seafood industry, so far and luckily we don't have any. And right now, also like a quantity of fish is abundant, and the amount of fish is in the market, so lots of fish. So should be supplying fish to restaurants, no problem.
I see. Is any, that means like is the price stable somehow, or is the same as before?
For the fresh fish in the Fulton market, I can just mention about the fresh fish price, much different. But if you want to bring fish from another country, a totally different story, maybe I can talk later. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have a question, another question for Chef Gutierrez. You are a great farmer to table advocate for many years since you started, and we've seen many of the works you have done around. And a direct supply chain pipeline to chefs that look many years to build has been interrupted by the coronavirus, leaving small farmers and ranchers with no place to sell the products. Do you think that pipeline can be restored?
I think so, but I think that it will require a few changes. I'll be honest with you. Right now, we have 2 major obstacles. Number one is just the access to the markets, and how the markets, because of the necessary social distancing guidelines, have become very inefficient. And so we've been unable to access the markets. Also, I have been hesitant to put my sous chef and other staff who usually do the shopping at risk of going to a crowded market. Now, once the situation allows those social distancing guidelines to be relaxed, then it will be easier for us to get in and out of the market. Because what you have to understand is, at the market is dominated by retail sales. Now, we might come in and buy a few cases at a time, but we're buying at a slightly lower price point, and the average customer in the market is paying a slightly higher price point because they're buying retail. Now, another issue now that we will need to overcome is our own price point. We, for 14 years at Palo Santo, we were a dine-in only restaurant, and then 2 months ago, from only getting out of food 10, 15, 20% of my sales to Grubhub or another platform. So it's all through our own website that we've set up, and then we rely on ourselves for the promotion. We have had to reduce our price point and increase the portion size in order to be competitive with other restaurants that are delivering. If I'm going to sell 4 ounces of sweet potato for $29, it has to be plated, it has to be beautiful, and it has to look like a $29 plate. When that's in a box or in a to-go container, it doesn't have the same value. So I have had to all change the ingredients that I'm using, and I have relied more on imported produce. We're still trying to get the best quality that we can, but it's imported, lower price point produce in order to meet the price point that's required for this new model of delivery versus the casual fine dining dine-in that we were used to.
I see. Chef Keita, I have another question, another tech question for you. Recently, Mike Schwartz, the VP for the International Food Service Manufacturers Association, predicted that ordering supplies online has become more prevalent. As a result of this crisis, controlling inventory will be more important than ever for every restaurant. And as a restaurant owner, how hard do you think is to deal with new systems and become less dependent on distributors per se, and salespeople, and to be making calls and to be placing orders? I understand that there were many things already taking place, but now everything is being kind of accelerated. What do you think?
The systems, it very much depends on the systems, I believe. So how is the quality of the system? Is it going to actually, is it going to be able to replace actually speaking to a salesman or having a conversation with them regarding your order? So as far, I'm all for it, but it's completely dependent on the quality. So, you know, if it works well, I really love the time and the timing issues. You know, we've had plenty of days where we place the final order for the night and then we realize, oh, you know, we forgot something. If we can do that online, we could always go back after we placed an order and then revise the order. So, you know, with things like that, I think it would work out really nice. You know, besides the food industry, a lot of things have been moving onto different portals, and a lot of business has been done online. And for the most part, I think it's working well. I'm concerned maybe a little bit about the fine tuning. You know, whenever if there's something that I can't be taken care of online, is there going to be a reliable point of contact that we can, you know, an actual person that we can speak to take care of any problems or issues that might arise? So, all my guys are pretty analog, so they might have a few issues with getting used to, you know, floating across multiple websites to order whatever they need to order. But I think overall it would work out.
Yeah, we have 2 distributors here, and then they hear you. They hear that they like that touch of last minute. And then I understand. You know, also we do events here, so we understand how important, how things are sometimes missed in the last minute. And the last touch that the supplier, they come and, you know, step up and fix the problem. Well, technology will help, but sometimes humans, so we need that human touch. I connect with this question about technology. I would like to ask Ami, Very similar question, because before this crisis, I mean, some distributors were already beginning to use technology to integrate the system, such as inventory control, taking orders, and so forth. Do you think this crisis will rush this process? It's kind of very connected to what I asked about Chef Keita, but I think it's very important to have the perspective from the restaurant and from the distributor itself.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we have been working to create application of ordering system before pandemic came. I think it's very important to have those technology between us, kind of the distributor, with the customers like a restaurant. So we work with some partner who understands our customer needs, and now we will push harder to finalize this project. So this application can be installed on phone, and so the restaurant can easy to order, and then that order comes through our ERP system. So it's an efficient system for everyone. And then this application is not only for us. And restaurant can register different distributors so that they can choose whoever supplier for them to needs to enter the order on the date. And it's very easy for the entering order the system. So I think it's really will be good for industry in the future as well. But I think still the communications is the most important for us to build a relationship with our customers. But I think for this type of the ordering system, we can definitely make it more efficient with technology.
Nice. Terry, you also dealing with the systems and supplying many Japanese restaurants. Ocean Providence import lots of fresh fish from Japan, and it must have been tough to deal with air freight in the past weeks. Consider that some airlines will reduce the number of flights. How does that change your logistics? Will New York continue having great fresh fish from Japan?
Yes, I like to say yes, and but also no. Mutual, like Amy-san kind of already explained in the previous one. I might repeat the same things. I have a big problem now is like air transportation. Because airplane company reduce almost 90% flight from Japan to United States. So, but I believe most of the states now reopen the business, some degree, 25%, restaurant, 50% capacity, allow into the diner, except a few places like New York City is not yet, But as we open, I'm sure, airline company is going to add their flight more and more, They are ready, they are always available. But we have to have a certain amount number of, quantity of fish, because otherwise, just bring fish, small quantity of fish from, foreign country, it's gonna be very expensive, as Amy-san said. Before the coronavirus epidemic, and compares now, maybe flight charge is simply more than double, So unless we have a certain quantity of fish, we can get an order from a Japanese restaurant. It doesn't make sense to bring fish right now. Like here is Hatsuhana-san, Sato-san, our main customer. Thank you, but we've been waiting for the government to say it's ready to open, right? So, but I believe once we open and once restaurant go back to normal, I'm sure airplane company will support us. They're going to add more airplanes. So I don't worry about too much. We just need to be ready ourselves. Yeah.
I see. There was a point that Chef Gutierrez made it regarding packaging. I think it's very important because we have chefs, we have a variety of people here in our audience today, and they always want to hear what's, we are certainly our our discussion is about supply chain, but all of this in terms of delivery is pretty much part of products being, delivered. So that's why we entered this, we ask this kind of question. And Chef Gautier pointed out that something like in a box is not going to have the same value. And I just thought about Chef Keita that has an amazing plate dish. He's actually the famous sushi box of dreams, sushi box of dreams, right? Which is very famous in his restaurant. His signature. So I just wonder if your Chef Keita could probably mention something. What I know that you have like a high end. We have a lot of good customers in Midtown. You planning to go like doing delivery, or how you think about that? About Jack's about Chef Gautier's comment?
Yeah, I think Chef Gautier is he's in a very I think he's in a very difficult situation due to the fact that he's never really offered takeout until recently. So for us, I'm currently not open for takeout, but we're very used to being part of the takeout business. We do on a regular day, we're averaging around 300 orders a day. So I mean, it's a very significant part of our business. But
300 orders takeout
a day, yes.
Okay, I see.
Right.
So you have a strong takeout business.
Right. Well, and it's very, right now I'm closed, like I mentioned, but I'm waiting for all the external factors. In our situation, I think every restaurant goes through a very specific. They have a specific situation. In our situation, I'm in Midtown Manhattan, so we're surrounded by office buildings, and basically 95% of our orders are corporate, meaning they're individuals working in office buildings, and their company compensates them for whatever meal that they ordered, and that's going back into the platform situation, but they're only allowed to order from a specific platform if their meal is going to be compensated by the company. So that's the backstory behind that. But anyway, so 95% of our customers are corporate, and they're not there right now. So the same situation as with Mr. Hasegawa, it's not worth for the airline companies. It's not worth shipping the fish over if there's not a significant order. That's what I'm experiencing with the takeout orders. So if there's no customers in the city and that we have no potential clientele, it doesn't make sense for me to open the takeout business. And I also, and more importantly, I don't want to risk put at jeopardy the well-being and health of my employees.
I have questions here that's coming up from our participants. Always like we combine different questions, and pretty much they are concerned, asking what do you, like restaurants, what suppliers expect in terms of pricing. So you understand restaurants are very concerned, very priced. It's a business with a very low profit. And I would like to ask that maybe for the distributors, maybe Terry, could you tell, you mentioned that the price for things coming from Japan is not feasible now, but do you see there will be some kind of a increase in terms of price in the near future? And then I'll ask the same question to Ami.
My understanding, because business is very fragile right now, and right now, just if you look at it today, yes, like flight cost is very expensive because of the reduced number of flight and the small amount of quantity. But if we look at the overall, oil is very cheap. Historically, oil is cheap. And then, a lot of things people is struggling. And then I see that, always demand and supply have to have balance. So even in the future, when businesses start growing, I don't think prices increase like crazy. I have to see, yen, dollar, currency situation. But usually air freight is when it's going up, when oil price going up. But oil price is very steady past few years, and especially this year, before the coronavirus, Saudi Arabia and the Soviet Union and America, not Soviet, Russia, I'm not sorry. No, they are not agree with to reducing oil. They actually, instead, they're pumping more production, and so much oil was out there right now. So, and the price already started falling. Then coronavirus hitting, and all the economies stop, and it just oil went to the minus. That went to minus. So, I think this situation, I don't think air freight not going to up. Even our business is going to normal. I don't really expecting this freight fee. It should be stable. That I think. I may not wrong, but that's I predicting that.
Well, what do you think, Ami? Because Terry deals with fish, mainly with fish, but you deal with a broad food service line.
Well, I think the price point wise, except the ocean freight, like Teresa mentioned that, and I think we all know that the reducing of freights definitely makes costs higher for the shipment until the certain time, which I believe it will take some time. It'll take time to get back to normal. But for the ocean freight, I think as long as the economy is recovering and the business is growing little by little, I don't think that affects on the pricing so much. And at this point, nothing affect on the pricing except that the business part. So I believe manufacturer side, distributor side, restaurants, right now is we all try to survive this situation. So I really think that with all of together, like we can always deal with the manufacturer, nobody just get hurt themselves. So we try to keep that up as much as we can.
Also your perspective, because it sounds like, the distributor is saying that the prices will not change much. And even as Terry said, that even in the near future, he doesn't expect that there will be any kind of a sharp increase. Do you see, in terms of volume, and do you feel like pressure to increase prices? Or I'm asking this question because basically the participants are kind of the restaurants. They are in the same boat, and I would like to also open a parenthesis here to say thank you for all the panelists, because they are sharing things about their companies, and this will really help in many people. This is an interesting thing because during this time, there are certain particular industries that they were completely separate. They're not helping each other. But in the food industry, they are so cohesive. And then distributors, restaurants, they are kind of exchanging information. They are helping each other. There are so many stories in the food industry. And then that's kind of a interesting, very particular industry. So for the restaurants that sharing their information, I appreciate it. You're going to be helping many people that will listen to this webinar and then will, consider in their decisions. So what do you think, Chef Gutierrez, what do you think about pricing?
Well, to get back to the green market and purchasing directly from farmers, you know, I would say that one thing that's affected those prices a lot is the increased demand for retail groceries. A lot more people cooking at home. So, say with the egg farmer that we deal with, who is he's an egg farmer, has a very small operation. He has about 2,000 chickens, upstate New York, and when we buy eggs from him, we're paying about $4 a dozen. When he sells them retail in the green market, he's getting $7 a dozen. So right now he has lowered production because of the situation and his own staffing and, you know, his ability to the demand has fallen, whereas the retail demand has gone up. And so when it comes to us, he just doesn't have eggs left to sell to us, because any things that he sells to us at this current moment, he would be taking a $3 hit per dozen. So I think that this is something that eventually the demand for retail groceries will go down as people go back to eating at restaurants, and the farmers will be able to increase operation here. And our major vendor is also a very small operation. It's basically just one guy with a van who drives up to the Bronx every day and purchases from Latin American importers that's in the markets in the Bronx. He might buy avocados one place, he might buy banana leaves another place, he might buy, you know, cactus paddles somewhere else. He finds specialty Latin American ingredients, and then he brings them to us. He sells also to other Latin American restaurants in Brooklyn and to a lot of small American grocery stores. So we usually purchasing would be split about this time of the this time of the year, when usually we'd be buying a lot from the green market. We're not. We are purchasing more Latin American imported ingredients because of the issues that I spoke about with the green market.
Okay, we are almost running out of time here. I would like to ask a last question, a quick question for everyone. I would like to start with Terry Hasegawa. What are the plans in your mind? Do you have any plans? If you have to say, like, I would ask the same question. What do you expect next?
So anyway, right now, you know, our goal during this time is, you know, like make sure our all employees are safe and healthy. That's the priority. Luckily, you know, thanks all my employees is very healthy right now. We don't have anyone had, you know, any issue or say infected by coronavirus. So okay, so I'm really thankful to employees. Meanwhile, you know, many states and around going to look for the reopen. So I have to balance, you know, serving the restaurant and make sure I keep our employees safe. And they're safe, feel safe, come to my place, warehouse to work together. So that's my kind of challenge. That's my goal right now.
Keita?
Like I mentioned before, I'm waiting for the external factors, you know, just this whole situation with this disease to settle down. And like everybody else, I'm monitoring the situation very closely. But I think just like everybody else, my main concern is the safety of my employees and, of course, my customers. As with, I think hopefully a lot of businesses were able to get some government loans. So, I mean, I'm just gonna rely on that until, you know, but we can't stay open, we can't stay closed forever. So I am making some tentative plans to, you know, how we can safely at least open our takeout business back up. And you know, we're gonna have a temporary menu, a limited menu. We're probably gonna try to do a I have a e-commerce section on my website, so I'm going to use that instead of the high commission platforms, and start getting my team back together. And but until then, we just have to. You know, there's no concrete things that we can rely on. So yeah, we'll just
Don't
wait
leave
and
us
see.
without the sushi box of dreams. Thank you very much. Ami, final thought?
Well, I think it's everybody saying, but it's been already 10 weeks for a lot of our team members started to work at home. So I want to see everyone's face as soon as possible. But I think until the approved vaccine will be available, it'll be probably tough for everyone to back to the normal life just yet. But I think this is also a good opportunity for us to think about the future. Anything that we need to improve, anything that we can create new things. And I think each of our members use this time to look for the future right now. So I wish to dine in a restaurant soon.
Yes. Chef Gautier, thank you, Rami. Chef Gautier, your last word.
Well, I am hopeful that the to-go and delivery sales that I have now will continue at the level they are, that is sustaining us. I'm very thankful to my staff and my customers and my vendors. And I'm also anticipating a huge challenge. It's been very difficult for us to shift from dine-in only to go and delivery only. And I'm anticipating an equally large challenge when we are shifting back. And I'm trying to imagine how that's going to look, because we have a very small kitchen, and it's going to be difficult for us to do simultaneously dine-in and to go and delivery. So that's where I'm working on my plan.
That's very interesting. Thank you. Based on our conversation today, it seems like there will be some bumps along the way, but still overall the restaurant supply chain appears to be healthy according to our suppliers, distributors, and they are ready to supply the restaurants. I would like to close by saying thank you to the panelists and to all the participants. I would take the opportunity to wish everyone a healthy and safe Memorial Day weekend, and see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you soon.